All right, guys, welcome back to Crossman Productions. Today is Tuesday. I'm trying to remember the dates. Today's Tuesday. We've had such a great week. Yesterday we had Sharon Lanier on. Next week we have another just a huge lineup. We have Venus Monique coming on, Venetia Ivy. We got some of our friends from Power Slap coming back on. Jared the Lion Ridge from Bare Knuckle Fighting. So we got a pretty good lineup coming up next week. Today, I'm excited about having my friend Larry back on the show. Now, Larry was on probably about, I don't know, maybe a month ago. When we talked about a book that he's writing called That Guy. So I went out and I got a copy of the book, and I've been reading the book. And I'm like, you know what? I got to bring Larry back in because I want to talk about the book. We're going to talk about a couple of chapters in the book and kind of give you guys a little sneak preview. But we want you guys to go out and buy this book. And one of the cool things about Larry is Larry has been around the industry for a while. He's done over 200 films and television shows. And this guy's just chock full of knowledge and wisdom about the industry. And a lot of you, that come on the show, it's kind of your first go around in this industry. And I love to bring people in like Larry because Larry, he's seen it all. He's done it all, I like to sit and pick his brain and kind of hear some of the stories, from his journey. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to bring him back. We have That Guy. We're going to be talking about this book. We'll pick a couple of chapters, and then I want you guys to go buy the book and read the rest of the chapters. So we bring Larry in. What's up, Larry?
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing great, man. Thanks for joining me again, man.
Well, always a pleasure. Your symbol, the Crossman Productions, and we were talking about it the last time. So
Right.
Your mom came up with that. Is that true? Or
Yes.
Some of the
Yes.
Yeah, it's just it's very memorable. It's memorable. Thank you, Mom.
Yeah. She came up that one day. She had a dream, and she woke me up the next day, and she's like, "Hey, I saw this symbol everywhere." It was when I first started doing television and radio, and she was like, "I seen this symbol everywhere." It was all over the world, and which is ironically now we got the show. We've been airing in Australia, Holland. I just got through doing an interview with somebody in South Africa. So
did you get to India?
No, I haven't, but I have a friend who is from India who's actually getting ready to film a movie that she wrote, and they're gonna be filming it in India. Part of it in India and part of it in Chicago.
Because I'm big in India. That's all I know.
Oh, really? I actually had a friend back at one of my jobs who was from India, and he came here and he loved the Brazilian style of restaurants where they serve all the meat you can eat, because they can't do that in India,
Oh, right. Yeah.
So when he would go to this, restaurant, he went there at least 2 or 3 times a week. And every time he would go, he would take pictures of his food, and post it on social media. And then one day he calls me. He's like, "Hey, our job is sending me back to India." And as soon as he got back to India, he got so many death threats for eating that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Right.
I'm sorry.
So they didn't appreciate the Brazilian restaurants.
You got to be really careful nowadays.
Right. So so I was talking last time we talked about your book. And So I've been reading it, dude. You have so many interesting stories. I mean,
I've had an interesting life. I don't know. I mean, I didn't choose it. I didn't make it happen. It just I took whatever came in front of me, and that's what it turned out. I said I better write it into a book before I forget all this stuff.
right.
I did.
Well, it's a great book. I mean, they go through several different chapters. We have some chapters, of course, of all the things that people, I'm sure ask you a lot about, like your time on Friends and Seinfeld, and I saw, your chapter with Laverne and Shirley, and Breaking Bad, and so all those are in there. So, but I wanted to kind of start from the beginning. When you're talking about when you were growing up, and you didn't choose acting. Acting wasn't like your first, your first gig. You went to college in Syracuse.
Yeah.
And then you were there to do design. It was
Industrial design, Syracuse University. I got a degree in industrial design. I was going to design cars for Ford or Chevy. I don't remember which. I had a pretty good salary. I graduated pretty well, and so they wanted me. I just didn't want them. I didn't want to do anything. I really that was my first choice, not to do anything, just hang out and be funny. That was as far as I planned. I mean, I went to college because my parents insisted I go to college. People go to college. So I went the full 5 year. It was a 5-year course. I got a degree, and Ford Motor Company wanted me to design their cars. Well, Chevy, I don't remember which. And I just went there. They sent for us to the 5 top. No, it was the 2 top students in industrial design from 4 of the major colleges that they drew who they hired from. In other words, they would go to Syracuse and 3 others. I don't remember. So there was 8 of us, 2 from each college. And I just dissed the whole thing. I mean, I thought they were just inviting us to, little back and forth, hey, you like it here, and what do you like about the place, and what do you like to do, and blah, blah, blah. And I just kept saying, I don't like that. Like, for instance, I would pick up something, like a little car. They had these little cars that all the people who worked there made out of plaster of Paris, modern cars in the future. And I picked up one off a desk, and I was just, looking at it. And I was like, oh, this one here. Yeah, this one. And I'm looking at this car,
Right.
And so the tour guide, who was actually one of the hired designers, it was just his day off, so you take the tour through. And he looked, and he came over, and he was standing there, and I'm going like this. And he says, "You like that, huh?" And I go, "No, I don't." What do you mean? And I go, "Well, I expected more from, we were designing these in my classrooms. I expected the future when I go to Ford."
Right.
And he just didn't like what I was saying, which I guess in hindsight, of course. Right. And then I just shut up. I said, "Well, I think I better just keep quiet and not say anything. That would be the best thing." And so they kept on the tour, and then they took us to this beautiful restaurant. It was like a campus. I think it was Ford. It was the entire place was like a huge university. I thought, well, we're at a university. They had a quadrangle. They had, the cafeterias and coffee places. And okay, so they bring us into this restaurant, or he did. He'd bring us these eight of us into this, and it's really cool, man. It's like the best uptown expensive restaurant you ever saw. And I go,
Right.
wow, man. And he says, this is the restaurant. You come here, you have your dinner, your breakfast, whatever, you're working, whatever hours you're working. And I said, wow, man, that's the first time it, woke me up to something that I was impressed with.
Right.
And I said, wow, man, this is really great. We like eat here. And he says, oh, no, this is the executive's dining room. You don't eat here. You eat at the cafeteria. And I said, oh, what the hell are you just showing us for? What are you trying to fool us? You didn't mention that. I had to bring it up.
Right.
I got really angry. I said,
right.
Heck, what is this? Some sort of, Ponzi schemes or something?
Right.
And he goes, you don't want to be here, do you? I mean, he just said that.
Right.
Like you're not here. You're not going to be here. That's what he was saying. But he said, you don't want to be here, do you? And I said, I don't think so. No. I mean, I was honest, man. I mean, that's the only thing I can be. I don't know how to be dishonest. It's like, So, of course, when we went back, I mean, and these are A students, man. He's talking to. What do you think? We stupid?
Right.
So, when we went back to Syracuse, he said, Larry, what did you do there? I said, what do you mean? He said, boy, they don't want you here.
Wow.
They don't want you there. He said, you spoke up about it. You didn't like the place, right? Is that right? So, yeah, I didn't want to be there. But, I mean, okay, is that the report you got? He says, that's the report we got. You're not going back there. I said, great. That's fine. That's like the way I like it. And then on graduation night, which is then in the book with the fight, and that pulled my arm. I started a fight over a girl.
Let's talk about that fight. So there's a guy. There was a guy who hit a girl, and you stepped in.
Well, she was my friend. I mean, it wasn't even like a love affair or something like that. It was, she was beautiful, I mean, but she had a boyfriend.
Right.
Unfortunately, the boyfriend was the captain of the lacrosse team.
Wow.
There's something more tough than a football player. It's a lacrosse player. They do the same thing, only without pads. And they carry a stick. And the only thing that's covered is their hands. So their hands don't get bruised when they, try to catch the ball or hit you. Either one. I mean, so he accused me in front on graduation day. We all go to the bar and have hey, we're graduating today in the afternoon. We spent the afternoon at the bar. I'm not a drinker, but I liked hanging out, and being at the bar was great. It was all students and stuff. And I saw her, she was my friend. We had the same classes. Right. And I knew she had a boyfriend, and I was cool. I was very cool.
Right.
And so, but we were friends. And I walk into the bar alone, and I just now in the back they had a dance thing and a jukebox there, and so you could stay at the bar in the front, or you could go to the back and dance and have beers there.
Right.
So I'm at the bar, and I see her run out from the back, run out the front door, and she's crying, and she just disappears. I go, wow, okay, and it's not my business. I don't know. Then I see her boyfriend come out of the bar, out of the back, and he just walks into the up front, and he goes down the end of the bar, and he's talking to his buddies, and I'm wondering what happened. I think Jill, and I go because I'm curious as to why she was crying. So they're both back there. So I walk over to him, Biff or whatever, Biff. I go over to Biff and I go, hey, Biff, was that Jill going out crying? And he turns to me, he goes, yeah, what about it? And I go, well, why was she crying? Just because I hit her. What?
Wow.
Why? And he goes, because you've been fucking her.
Wow.
What? I go, no, what are you, crazy? He says, yeah. He says, Well, I mean, but wait a minute. You hit her because of that, or you didn't even check or anything? Like, no, I didn't. I didn't go near her, man. That's your girlfriend.
Right.
Now a crowd is starting because this is a arguing out loud right at the bar.
Right.
Anybody who stops and is, what the fuck? He fucked her girlfriend. What is going on?
Right.
And then I said, no, wait, okay, let's hold it. He says, yeah, blah blah blah. You better, yeah, I'm going for you. You're a dead meat, man. And I go, whoa, wait a minute. Now let me get this straight. You think,
Right.
without checking, you think I slept with her, and that's why you hit her? And he goes, yeah. And I go, wait a minute. But what I want to know for a fact is, you really did hit her.
Right.
And he goes, yeah. And if she comes back in here, I'm going to hit her again.
Wow.
And I went, well, bam! And I just hit him like that out of nowhere, man.
Right.
And it was just, I didn't even want to hit him.
Right.
Just something like, blah, boom, and I hit him right in the center of his nose, man. It was a perfect shot. And he went way back. This is the bragging part. Wait. And he went way back into the pinball machine, and he knocked out some tilt, and it went out. And he goes, "Hey man, you just tilted out my game. I was winning, So fight, and he said, and some of his buddies are holding him back. He's like this, and I'm going. And then the bartender immediately yelled, "No fighting in here! No fighting in here!" And I thought, great, what a great bar, what a great, because he would kill me. I just know that. I didn't even there was no, in my dreams I wouldn't hit him. I mean, he was just a stalker. And so then he said, the bartender said, if they want to fight, shove them outside, let them fight outside. And that's what they did.
Wow.
Everybody, half the crowd, pushed me out, and then they pushed him out. And then it started to drizzle. And he said, and he just stood there, and I didn't run, I didn't do anything. I was like frozen, thinking, what have I done? That's all I was thinking. What did I just do? And he said, and he goes, you just sucker punched me, dick. What, some asinine thing he called me. He says, you just sucker punched me. And I said, well, I mean, no. You hit a girl. You hit Jill. So I just hit you. So now we're even. And he says, no, we're not even. Now I'm angry at you.
Right.
And I go, he said, and he just stood there, not moving. And he goes, I want you to try that again. I said, no, man, it's over. It's over. We're even. No, it's not. You sucker punch me. Good. Try to sucker punch me again. And he stood there very, hands at his side, very calmly. And he said, try that again. I said, no, it's over. And he goes, okay, 1, it's not over. 2, I'm going to count to 3. And whether or not you try to sucker punch me again, I'm going to wipe up the floor with you. I'm going to wipe up the sidewalk with you. I'm going to kill you. You understand? 1. And I'm going, holy cow. 2. No, he goes, 1. He says, and I'm not kidding around. 2. You better, because on 3, I'm going to kill you.
Wow.
And as he goes, I just tried to do what I automatically done for no reason. And and all of a sudden I feel it's slow motion. And I just see my fist go like that. And I just see one hand go of his like that. And then the other hand goes, boom.
Wow.
And just wham. And I went like back a couple of feet. And then, I tried to fight back, but it was not happening. So, boom, boom, a couple of times. And then he just hit me, and I went down, and I got up, and I tried to swing. And in swinging, I pulled out my arm out of the socket. That's how off it was, and that's how hard it was. That
Wow.
I pulled my own arm out of its socket.
Wow.
And right. And then he started to just kick the shit out of me. And I
Mhm.
went down, and then he jumped on me. Now it's raining. So this is going on. And I just as I'm on the sidewalk, I look over at the bar at the plate glass window.
Right.
And I see everybody in the bar has got their beers at the window, and they're watching this
Wow.
dry as a bone as we're fighting in the rain. And he's got his knees, on my shoulders, and
Right.
and bam and bam, and then and then he looks down at his knees, which
Right.
he pinned my arms to the sidewalk, which is wet. It's raining. And he looks at his knees, and they're sopping wet because they're on the sidewalk. They're on my shoulders. I mean, we're
Right.
getting wet. And he looks at his knees, and he goes really into my face. He's got his hand, and he goes, "You see these knees? You see these pants? They're all wet. You're going to pay for the cleaning. I'm going to kill you, and then you're going to pay for the cleaning,
Wow.
the dry cleaning." And we're about this far away.
Right.
Nose to nose. And the only thing I could do is I went, thank God I had a cold. I went right in his face. Best move I've ever done in my life. And then it just starts wailing on me. And the only friend I had in the bar who could even do anything was his ex-Marine called
Is it George?
Bruce. Bruce is an ex-Marine.
Bruce. Right.
And all of a sudden, I see two hands go on his shoulders, and he just yanked up like this. And he spun him around, and I'm just laying there watching this. And Bruce just looks at him.
Right.
It's over.
Wow.
And he just said nothing. He just said, right. And he just turned around, and him and his friend just walked away down the street.
Wow.
That was it. And then Bryce said, and I'm now sitting at the curb, going, holy cow. And Bruce says, you okay? I go, yeah, I'm okay. I wasn't okay at all.
Right.
So yeah, I'm okay. And he goes, you need anything? No, I don't need. Okay. Bruce goes back in the bar. And I see everybody at the window go back into the bar. And I'm sitting there. I must have sat there for about 20 minutes in the rain till it stopped. Wow. I just sat there. And people are going by. Some strangers came in. They actually tapped me on the shoulder and say, you okay? And I go, yeah. And then you just go on. And then, okay, so here's the great ending to the story. There is a great ending to this story that happened to me. And it's in the book. And he goes, I sat there, and then finally they come back.
Right.
This badass guy, Biff, with his friend. And you can see they changed their clothes. It stopped raining. They got on dry clothes, and they came back, and they're walking, just walking and talking. I mean, they didn't come back for any other reason. I guess to go back into the bar. Right. So he comes back in, and he sees me. I'm still sitting where he last left me when Bruce told him to get out of there.
Right.
And I'm sitting there, and he says to his friend, oh, man, he's still here. Okay, now I'm really going to wipe up the place with you. And his friend says, hey, man, don't. You really hurt him, and the cops will come, and you can kill this guy. Come on, let's just go back. Let's go back.
Right.
And, okay, wait a minute. I got to get rid of this. Okay, so he turned around and left.
Right.
And so I limped my way back. And I couldn't use his arm because it was dislocated. So I saw this fence, and I grabbed onto it, and just jerked it back in place. Okay. And then I went home, and I just went to bed. Right. That's it. Okay. And so I missed the graduation, which was that evening, about 5, 6 o'clock. I just missed it. My parents had come, They
Right.
were there waiting for me, and I didn't show up,
Well,
And about midnight, my friend comes in, my roommate comes in, and he goes, this is like almost verbatim from the book. I mean, I see the whole thing. I mean, it's a memory, but it's everything. And he comes in and he says, "Are you okay? I heard you got into a fight." He said, "Yeah, just leave me alone." And I said, "What's going on out there?" He says, "Well, everybody's graduating and fucking." I say, "Are you fucking?" "No." He says, "Then fuck you." He says, "Nobody else is fucking either." So I said, "Oh, okay, thank you." And then the phone rings. This is like
right.
midnight or 12:30 now. And I'm just laying there. We had bunks, double bunks, that cheap rooms,
Right.
double bunks. And I was on the bottom bunk. Thank God. And he gets off, goes, he says, "It's for you." I said, "I can't, man." He says, it's Jill."
Mm.
"Oh no, tell her no, I can't." She insists on talking to you.
Oh, wow.
So I get up. So what's going on? She says, "I heard that you and Biff got into a fight." "Yeah, yeah." "And that you started it?" "Yeah, yeah, I did." "Well, why don't you come over?" Now she lived in a sorority,
Right.
and it's midnight. It's like 12:30, maybe 1 o'clock.
Right.
And she says, "Why don't you come over and let's talk?" I said, "No, no, let's talk tomorrow. I can't get. I'm fucked up, man. I can't. No, I can't."
Right.
"And if you're in a sorority, I can't go. It's midnight. It's 1 o'clock in the morning." She says, "No, no, we can get you in. We do it all the time for
Wow.
our boyfriends." She said, "Please come over, please." And she kept on. I said, "Okay," because I really liked her, And it's
Right.
okay. So I get in, I limp all the way. Thank God it's on campus, so it's not that far. It's about 3 blocks away. There's her sorority. I go over there, and outside she says, go to the back door, go to the back." So I
Right.
go to the back, and there's a girl, not her, but there's a girl, a sorority sister, waiting for me.
Right.
And she said, "Okay, this way, come in." And then they had it all figured out. It was really like army time.
Right.
It took there was inside. Well, once I got inside the back door, Jill was waiting for me. So now they had this all worked out, and it was like perfect, commando timing. What they
Right.
did was one girl, the one who was waiting outside, would go
Right.
ahead and then make sure the coast was clear, signal me in. We would go up to her. She would
Right.
go ahead, look ahead. Now they had a house mother. We all had house mothers, in the
Right.
sorority fraternities. So and she was an old lady and she slept, soundly. But she,
Right.
clear, boom, clear, boom, clear. But then they got to her room. They all had roommates, and that was her roommate. And
Oh,
she says, "Okay, go in there. Jill is in there. You have until 5 o'clock." So that's like 3 hours.
right.
Then she says, "You got until 5 o'clock, and then you have to get out. We'll get you back the same way."
Right.
Okay. So I go in, and Jill is waiting for me, and she says, "Sit down on the bed."
Right.
And then we did the deed.
Right.
And I thought, wow, I've been dreaming about this the whole time, but I had to go through that. I
Right.
mean, I don't know, man. I guess it's worth it because it's going to make a great story. I know I'm going to write about this.
You
But
already got accused of doing it anyway, so
But and then the best thing was she understood that I got,
right.
my clock cleaned. So we did it very, very slowly and very gently and very carefully.
Right.
And she always, "No, is this okay? Is this okay?" And when we had to change position, she says, "Okay." So, and I would say, "No, slower, slower." Like, "Okay, no, we can't go there." I mean, now, these two college kids trying to make it,
Right.
one is wounded. Yeah, so that was the end of the story. Yeah, that's in the book. But that's that now. That is what started me in show business because my arms, I couldn't use my arm. I mean, it was sore. It
Right.
had to heal. So, but I'm a lefty, and it was my left hand.
Right.
So I couldn't even write my name.
Oh wow.
So at 5 o'clock, knock on the door, and then they snuck me out. But suddenly the walk back as the sun coming up was a
Right.
whole different deal than when I was walking there,
Right.
wounded, uh, leftover from Dresden.
Right.
So, but when I got back to my best friend in college that morning when I woke up,
Right.
and my best friend was Carl Gottlieb, who wrote Jaws.
Okay.
Movie Jaws.
Right.
He wanted to be a writer. That's why he was at Syracuse. And I didn't care. I just was in industrial design because my parents wanted me to do something, and I thought it was art. That's my paintings up there. But no, it wasn't art. It was industrial design. And my parents thought it was industrial design.
Right.
I thought it was industrial design.
Right.
So when I got there, but it was too late. I was signed up and they paid for it and blah, blah, blah. So I stuck at it. It was 5 years and I graduated with honors. It was cool. I just didn't want to be there. So Carl said to me, now graduation had happened last night and I had the fight last night.
Right.
And Carl says to me, we were having coffee and I'm just, I'm bruised and I got a black eye in my face. So he said, what are you doing after college? You going to Detroit? I said, no, man. He said, well, where are you going? I said, I don't know. I don't care. I was just really out of it. And he said, well, I'm going to Greenwich Village because I want to be a writer. And I think I can get a job on a newspaper there. These small newspapers.
Right.
And he said, so I'm going to Greenwich Village. I'm looking for a roommate. Why don't we be roommates? Great. Let's do that. Okay. I just didn't care. So he went home first. He got a flight over. This is Syracuse University, Syracuse. And we were in Long Island. We lived in New York.
Right.
So I went home and then we phoned each other. And I told my parents, I said, I can't. I was beat up. I lied,
Right.
Well, I said, I called home first when I got to the train station to get off the Far Rockaway train station, Long Island. When I got off, I went to, they had telephone booths in those days. So I got to a telephone booth and I called home, which was about 10 blocks away. And I called home and I said, Mom, I'm home. And she said, well, come home. What are you calling? Where are you? And I said, blah, blah, blah. Well, come get, no. I'll walk. No, leave me alone. Now, look, I'm just telling you, you're not going to like what you see when I walk in the door.
Right.
Uh-oh. What is, and her mood, her voice changed.
Right.
So, what are you trying to tell me? I said, I got in a fight. I don't look good, but I'm okay. I'm okay. Don't get excited.
Right.
And she said, why shouldn't I get excited? And I said, look, I'm okay. I'm fine. Don't worry. Okay? Right. You promise? Don't worry. So, okay, I'm fine. I walked the 10 blocks. I walk in and my mother just freaked. My son, my only son. You got to get him to a hospital. And she's calling my father. Maybe it was day off. I don't know. And they took me to a hospital, and to our regular doctor, Dr. Crossman. I remember his name. No, she called. My son, Larry. Oh my God, he's bloody. So I went to the doctor and he said, yeah, he'll live. That's what she said to me. He looks at me, in my eye and my arm and this, and he checks me up, and he just looks at her. The first thing out of his mind, out of his mouth, he just looked at her, and she says, "What?" And he says, "He'll live." That was all he said. He'll live. And they said, "Well, what's wrong with it? People get beat up. They heal." I mean, he's beat up. Obviously, he's beat up. Look at him. Right. He says he'll heal. He put him. Then finally, they put a bandage here and there. He sent me home. Just got plenty of sleep. Don't do anything Just rest. Just, you'll heal. He'll be okay. Your arm will be fine. Don't worry about
Right.
it. Great doctor. It's the best advice I ever had. So that's that story. I don't know how long that took. Probably the whole program, but yeah. So and that's why Carl came to me that summer. I'm healing, and I could use it, but I didn't want to go back. I didn't want to do art.
Right.
So Carl called me and he said, "Look, I'm doing summer stock because he wanted to be, write movies.
Right.
So summer stock, stage, show business."
Right.
So he was going to do summer stock. So he says, "Look," and he was a producer of summer stock and a writer. No, but they were doing, plays, I can't remember, but all the classic plays,
Right.
And so he was one of the producers with his buddy. So he said, "I'm the producer. I'll hire you to be, you can design the sets. You're our artist."
Right.
So I said, "Oh, no, I can't use my arm." He said, "No, we have people to draw. You just conceptualize, And one of the shows that we did for summer stock, I designed the bridge.
Okay.
It was really, really amazing. It was just one piece, but it was amazing how it went. Like it started here big, and then it just went up and off stage, up.
Right.
So that's how I got into show business. I was designed, then I healed. And I said, "Well, I can draw." He says, No, you can act. I've seen you in some plays at Syracuse.
Right.
They used to hang around the the acting department.
Right.
They were my friends. So he said, "You can act, you'll be something." I don't, so and then when I graduated, I just went with Carl to, he went to Greenwich Village and got a job writing for a paper. And I just went to bussing bars from 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. because I didn't want to, I didn't know what, I gone to school for industrial design.
Right.
That's all I knew. So I said, something will occur to me. So he was working during the day and I was working at night.
Right.
From 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. But I couldn't sleep at night. I slept during the daytime, kind of. I closed my eyes. So I would get up and then I would go to Greenwich Village, which was just 2 blocks away. I mean, it was in Greenwich Village.
Right.
But the coffee houses were 2 blocks away.
Right.
So before 2 a.m., I went to all the coffee houses and just had a cup of coffee and sat and watched the show. It just cost a cup of coffee, and I would just watch the comedians. It was comedians and folk singers. That was it. No girls. Girls were for the folk singers and the guys were folk singers, but only guy comedians.
Wow.
I was looking at them going, man, I'm that funny. I was funny in college. I was funny in high school.
Right.
I knew that. Well, easier said than done.
Right.
In other words, making you laugh is not the same as getting up on a stage in front of a paying audience, even if they just paid for coffee, and making a whole bunch of people laugh at the same time at the same thing. That took a while. It took a while for me, but it turns out I asked around. It was pretty fast. In 6 months, I was opening for Woody Allen. So I guess I am funny. Screw you, world. So I was opening for him. And then I was getting a lot of laughs. And then Woody came on and got even more laughs. But as I followed him around the country, we were a duo.
Right.
I opened for him. We were booked together because we had the same manager. So it was just easy for him to book both of us. So I started to see that I got less laughs and he was beginning to get more laughs. I was figuring he's getting my laughs too.
Wow.
So I asked around and I started to see, wait a minute, what the fuck is that? I saw that one of the reasons is you have to find your own audience. In other words, Woody Allen's audience started to really coalesce to go see Woody.
Right.
I mean, that was now a draw. And they weren't my audience. I was a Richie Pryor, George Carlin, Lenny Bruce.
Right.
saying curse words on the stage. I mean, but it wasn't. It was like George Carlin and Richie Pryor. It was
Right.
in the manner of telling my story. It
Right.
wasn't that I cursed. It
Right.
was like, so he said, fuck you, because the guy said, fuck me.
Right.
So that's what I say. So when Biff said, you're fucking dead, I
Right.
would say, when this Biff said, you're fucking dead.
Right.
And the audience, went, Woody's go, whoa, and they would shut up.
Mm.
But Lenny's audience and, George Carlin and Richie Pryor's audience loved it. So it was a jazz audience. So instead of opening for Woody Allen, I was opening for Miles Davis. And that was great, man,
Right.
because they were hip back when hip was hip. Hip isn't hip anymore.
Right.
So that was kind of cool. And then I went on my own. But when I didn't have a jazz audience and I was on my own, and they were just looking for a comedian to open for, say, the Kingston Trio, that's when I got in trouble, because then I was using really, hip material totally. And I was opening for the Kingston Trio, and no, that was Woody Allen's audience, Kingston Trio.
Right.
So I came out and started doing these George Carlin, Richie Pryor, Lenny Bruce pieces.
Right.
I said, thank God it was a nightclub and there was a dance floor, big dance floor. It was Lenny's on the Highway in Boston, in the middle of the winter. And so I started this, and I hear from the blackness, because a nightclub, you can't see the lights in your eyes.
Right.
I just see this starker. I hear from the blackness, get off the stage.
Wow.
No, I just keep on going.
Right.
I've got this. Figure it's a jazz audience. And I said, no, I'm going to keep on going. I said that. I said, no, I'm going to keep going. Blah, 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 blah. I said, get off the stage. This is black. Wow. I say, hey, I just got 10 more minutes. Let me finish.
Right.
Blah, 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 blah. And then I see out of the darkness this bohunk of a guy come with an upside down beer bottle in his fist. And he said, I said, get off the stage and bring on the Kingston Trio. Wow. And thank God it was a big dance floor, because as he was coming, it was like this. It's like boom, and I'm gone. And I sat down at the bar.
Right.
And I just, and so the bartender comes over. He says, what are you doing here? I said, did you see that guy come at me with a beer bottle? He goes, yeah, get back out there. You got 10 more minutes before the Kingston Trio goes on. I said, I'm not going out there unless you kick him out of there.
Right.
And he goes, no, you got to get out there for 10 more minutes. I said, where's the bouncer? He says, I'm the bouncer and the bartender. Get back out there or you're fired. And I said, no, I'm not going out there until you get rid of that guy. And he said, then you're fired. And I said, no, I'm not. I quit. And I got my coat and I just walked out the door into a Boston blizzard. Just like the snow is already that from the time that I came in, there was nothing. As the snow is like this, and I'm freezing, trying to, flag down a cab to get me to the airport and out of there.
Right.
And I had to eat my words or eat my snow or eat my blizzard, because I had to go back in the bar to use the phone. There was no, kiosk around, no telephone.
Right.
And that was kind of embarrassing. He comes back and he said, what do you want now? I said, I need to use your phone to call a cab. Anyway, he laughed. He said, oh, man, you're such a loser, man. He goes, here, and he puts the phone up there. And I call the cab. And the guy comes in. Anybody call a cab? Yeah, me. I left. So that was my first, show business. I was staying ahead of the game for about 3 or 4 months, not opening for Woody and working out my audience, his audience.
Right.
And then I called my manager and I said, look, I can't take this. I can't do this. I'm not prepared. I never wanted to be in show business. And now people are coming at me with beer bottles. Right. And I did and then, so he said, joined Second City, and right before that, he said on the phone, join
Right.
Second City. I said, okay. So I auditioned for Second City, and I got it. I got in, but I had a leeway of about a month before I would fly to Chicago and do it. So I
Right.
had a month of nothing to do because now my manager wouldn't book me in anything because I was going to Second City.
Right.
So the Love and Spoonful came to me and they said, we're doing a tour, a month tour. And I said, oh, this is perfect. We want you to open for us.
Oh, wow.
So I did a month tour. We went to St. Louis, opened at the St. Louis University, 2,000 seat auditorium.
Wow.
And I started to do it. And they called the cops on me. The audience, they started to boo, do the funny stuff.
Right.
And the dean called the cops and I said, no. I started hollering at them. I was getting sick and tired of being the butt of all this. So I started to shout at 2,000 university kids. What do you mean? Get off the stage or do the funny stuff. What do you mean? You're college kids. You should be hip. You should be smoking marijuana and listening to me and doing this stuff. What do you mean? Do the funny stuff. Grow up. And then so I started to do funny stuff and they shut up and then I got them to laugh. I did about 5 minutes of funny stuff. And then when I got a big laugh, I said, okay, let's get back to religion. That was the first thing. And then I said, what's between your legs? That was the second thing. And then you see the cops coming down. And they just pulled me off the stage and Love and Spoonful, get out there. Boom. So I joined Second City, and that's how I became an actor.
Right.
A stage actor as opposed to stand. So bit by bit, I kept being handed to, boom, boom, boom. And then a couple of us quit and went to San Francisco, and we opened up a second city, but we called it the Committee. And now Hollywood people started to come up and hire us for a day or two or a week. And in improv, you can leave and come back because somebody else will come in and improvise your scene the same or different. It's improv. And you have to come back and either deal with that. Hey, they changed your scene. He was improvising a different way. And so you have to start from where he left off or just back off and just start another scene. And now you've lost that scene because you went down to Hollywood, but you made $2,000.
Right.
When you're making only
$2,000 back then was really good money.
Yeah, for Hollywood, for doing a TV show. But when you came back, you were getting $200 a week, and you had to do 6 shows for the week, So the difference. So you do 2 days down there, but you get 2,000. You do a week and you get 200.
Wow.
But they hired me from San Francisco, Laverne and Shirley. What's her name? Laverne. Penny Marshall.
Right.
She came up to see the show. We didn't know this. We didn't know who was in the audience. Cheech and John was in the audience, and they were stealing our stuff and doing it on television. But Penny Marshall came up and hired me. And then I got an agent, and boom, Hollywood, and here I am talking to you.
Wow. So was Laverne Shirley the first sitcom that you were on?
No, because they would call and just go back, and then you'd fly back. They'd call and say, "Can you come down and audition?"
Right.
So you would fly down. It was only $35 round trip ticket to fly. So it's $35. Okay, all right, because you could make $2,000. So you'd fly down and audition, and then they would tell you there. No, we want you to come back in a week, and you're hired. Do this. Here's your sides, $2,000. So you'd fly back. Your scene would change maybe in 2 days. You could get it back. If you left for a week, kiss it goodbye, man. Somebody's going to step in and and build on what you had been working on.
Right.
But and then finally, but Penny Marshall was the one that got me to stay down there because she got me an agent. Okay. That's what the deal was. And that's how I became an actor. The others are just one-offs. You fly down, come back, big deal. But no, you had to move down there, and now you have to pay rent. So then it became a job again, once something I didn't want to do.
Right.
So now I did 202 movies and TV shows, which I
Wow.
think is near a record down there. But I wasn't doing it because I loved acting and auditioning. Maybe you audition for 100 and then they just call you or not.
Right.
But it was because I had to pay rent for my apartment down there, where in San Francisco was really cheap. You could do it for $400 a month. You could eat, pay rent, and have a little fun. But down there, $2,000 a month is not going to cut it, man.
Wow.
I mean, you got to get a car. You have to get a car. See, in San Francisco, I walked to work.
Right.
I had an apartment right around the corner from the theater, North Beach. Wow. In LA, you got to get a car. That's that's a car. That's an apartment. I mean, it was just, you are trapped to pay, and the only way I could think of was to be an actor. I couldn't quit, so I was trapped, man. And then the part's starting to get bigger at the end. So, but see, I'm not talking like an actor. You're not talking to an actor now. This is not an actor talking. This is just a guy who loves painting and hanging out and being funny.
Right.
But to this day, I'm not an actor, and people down here don't like me saying that when I've got 200, shows under my belt.
Right.
Why are you talking like that? Or when I talk to an agent, I don't talk actor.
Yeah.
I talk, hey man, we're going to what about space? Hey, have you seen the latest movie? Have you, how much milk costs now? And hey, I just bought a new car. It doesn't fly. I'm not a people person.
So, it's funny because when you started your career off, for industrial design, and then you kind of fell into the stand-up. This is one of the things I find interesting too, is a lot of the actors from your generation, a lot of them started in doing stand-up before they became actors. I would have thought that they would have been more into theater, getting into theater. But was stand-up like the big thing, or easier to get into? What drew people to the stand-up part?
Because they were into the money and show business, or show business and money. Right. So stand-up was show business. But it is. I mean, stand-up is show business. It is the business of show, as my manager used to say. Larry, it's 2 words: show business. The business of show. And I'm always thinking, money, or why should I do it? And he said, Larry, you're in show business. Oh, so when they said, yeah, but they want me to do an acting job, that's show business. It's all show business. Whether you're standing on a stage or you're in front of a camera, you're talking, they're filming you, you're making funny.
Right.
No. So that's the difference. Is once you're on stage and you want to be in show business and you stand up, you can do a sitcom, you can do a movie, you can do a cameo. It's all the same to them. It was never the same to me. I never was an actor.
Right.
I thought maybe I'd be with stand-up. I could, but then when this guy comes at me with a beer bottle, I go, no, this is the wrong job for me. Whereas Lenny Bruce and Richie Pryor and George Carlin had the fire in the belly to know, I want to be up on the stage, so you can come at me with a beer bottle.
Right.
But I'm going to come back as soon as you leave. I'm going to get back on the stage. Whereas when I left, I called my agent and said, I'm out.
Wow.
They didn't do that. They said, let's get some lawyers, man. And they lawyered up. They fought back. I didn't have the fire in the belly to fight back. And fine, you don't want me on the stage? Get off the stage. Let somebody else open for the Kingston Trio. I don't listen to them that much either. Big deal.
Right.
I mean, just 2 different mindsets.
Right.
And I never realized it. I mean, full blown where I could come on your show and talk like this till about I was in my 40s. Yeah, there was I was just fighting for the rent and car payments, rent and car payments, and a lot of them they even go further. It's the car payments and mortgages, which is even worse. You're trapped. Now you got a marriage and a kid.
Right.
Now you got car payments, mortgages, and child food or support.
Right.
Oh, and divorce.
Right.
So you got to be in show business because you don't know anything else. You can't go back to the beginning. And, that's not enough money. You're getting big bucks now. Where are you going to get big bucks? Get me a job, my agent, not me.
Man. So was there ever a time that you got a role that you were like really surprised and you're like,
yeah, Kramer, boom, out of the box. No, when I saw that, I mean, I was the only guy I thought, man, that guy's funny as Kramer. I watched the show that, he committed suicide at the Improv. I wasn't there, but I saw film of what he was doing. And then I saw Michael, you're heading towards suicide. This is not going. No, don't do that, Michael. And, I'm watching. No, Mike, no. And then, boom! I said, Michael, you're dead. You'll never work again in your life.
Well,
Michael, no. You could see he was just digging a ditch. He thought he was going to be because he got get off the stage. One of those guys, and he tried to heckle back. See, I just got off the stage because I didn't have that much ammunition.
Right.
You have to have ammunition. You have to be ready to be heckled. That's part of the job. He assumed because he was funny on TV, he was Don Rickles on the stage. So he was doing, a little shtick and funny business that was, getting kind of laughs. And then when this guy heckled, rightly so, by the way. Hey, I came to see Kramer, and what are you doing? It's and then so this guy heckled, and he started to do what he thought he was doing. He thought he was doing Don Rickles, and it wasn't funny at all. It was just real. It was street.
Wow.
He wasn't show business. He was all of a sudden a guy on stage trying to protect himself. Hey, what do you mean that? Hey, fuck you.
Right.
Oh, what are you doing, man? Get heckle stopplers. Heckle stopplers. Heckle stoppers.
Right.
But he wasn't doing that. He just got suddenly real. He dropped off facade and just, defending himself as a human being. Whoa.
Wow.
He's the Improv. Come on, guy. So I knew immediately. I saw what he was doing. But yes, I wanted that part because he was brilliant coming through the door,
right?
And all the stuff he would bring to it.
Right.
You got to be. That's from DNA. He was coming from heart.
Right.
You got to give him props for that. So and the character was written very well.
Right.
It really was. That was good writing. And it was David, Larry David, and Steinfeld. So they're two good writers.
Right.
So I when I saw, and also by then Michael Richards was my friend. Because we were all showing up. We were both showing up for the same parts. We were both tall. We kind of looked alike. We kind of had that quirky outside the box humor.
Right.
On Friday, he was on Fridays, TV show called Fridays. And I used to watch it just for him. He was in his little box. He was like a TV character, but, box. And he could talk to you,
Right.
It was a TV set that he was inside, but he was great. He was just outside, from another planet.
Right.
So I thought, and it was a challenge to match his funny. So it drew something. It wasn't that it drew an actor out of me. It drew hey, I'm funny.
Right.
And this guy is funnier.
Right.
Without trying. And I said, I got to match. I mean, he got something in me, like hitting Biff out of
Right.
nowhere for no reason. I was unaware that the fist was flying in a perfect direction to go right to his nose.
Right.
I know nothing about where that came from, because I was totally calm
Right.
before, after, and during. I
Right.
was as calm as talking to you. Bam!
Wow.
And I didn't even move my head.
Right.
It was bam. See, I moved my head. No. And then the same thing with the challenge to do Kramer. That's the only one. I didn't want to do Charlie Butts, which was the other great role.
Right.
Didn't want to do it. See, that was the Larry. I don't want to do that.
Right.
And the director, Don Siegel, who was brilliant, man. I mean, I don't know. He did great movies, but
Right.
nothing was as brilliant as him sitting and talking to him, because he saw me. He saw through me. He saw me
Right.
really on screen, even
Right.
talking to me. I didn't audition. He wanted to talk to me. I
Right.
mean, I wasn't famous. He didn't know who I was. I just walked in. My agent arranged it.
Right.
Hey, they and then he said they didn't know what part. Didn't know what part I was up for. He said, go down there. Clint Eastwood was doing a tentpole movie. It's a big deal. I got you an audition. And I said, what's the part? So I don't know. They didn't say. There's a lot of things open. Go down there. They're closing in an hour. You got to get down there in an hour. And it was in the valley, and I hopped in my car and lead-footed it down there.
Right.
And I got in, and I said, there was nobody there.
Wow.
Warner Brothers was there, but nobody was auditioning. Generally, it's 5 or 10 people, nobody. I walked into an empty room, the room that I was supposed to be, and the instructions were, they will hand you your sides. And there was just a secretary. And I said, is there any sides for Larry Hankin? They said, no. And I go, well, I'm here for auditioning. He said, yeah. Escape from Alcatraz? Yeah. So, she says, all I have is an Escape from Alcatraz screenplay. You want that? I said, okay, but I didn't know I can't. So I told her, I said, I'll take it, but I can't read this. It's 90 pages. They're going to call me in 2 minutes.
Right.
He says, well, that's all I have. And then she went back to typing. So I sat down, when I put the book in my lap, I thumbed through it, but there was no sense. So I just put it in my lap, and sure enough, next second, the door opened, and this nice white-haired lady, my hair, she says, you Larry Hankin? I said, yeah. She said, you're here for Escape from Alcatraz? Yeah. Are you ready? And am I ready? I mean, I said, and it was totally ridiculous. And that's, I mean, am I ready? And I said, yeah. I just said, yeah, I'm ready. Fine. Let's do this so I can go home, because this is not to be. I didn't say that to her, but that's the thing. She said, well, come on in. Now, the only reason that I really thought maybe this will turn out well was because somebody said, she says, well, supposedly you're auditioning with Clint Eastwood.
Well.
I said, oh, well, I'll meet Clint Eastwood. That's kind of cool. I didn't know who Don Siegel was. I found out afterward he was a brilliant 50s, 60s director of some heavy-duty films.
Right.
So I said, well, I'm going to meet Clint Eastwood, but am I ready? No. So I'm not going to get the job, but I'll meet Clint. We go in. It's an empty room.
Wow.
With 3 chairs facing one another, like director's chairs. 3 chairs. In the 2 chairs are the casting lady who just said, you ready? And Don Siegel, an old guy with white hair, like me. Now, and I said, oh, man, he's too old. That was my first thing. He's an old guy. What is he? He doesn't know.
Right.
And Clint Eastwood isn't here. This is going downhill faster and faster. And I just wanted to get out of there.
Right.
I said he was brilliant, and I'll tell you why. I sat down in the chair, and I had a chip on my shoulder already. So he says, okay, so well, what part are you here for? And I don't know. They keep on telling me I was supposed to have it. Somebody was going to hand it me. I don't know.
Mm.
That was my attitude.
Wow.
I mean, I was just fed up. I just wanted to go home. This is
Right.
stupid. This whole thing is stupid. And he just said, well, you got to, I put the script in my lap, my lap.
Right.
He goes, well, you got a script there. I go, yeah, but nobody told me what part. And I mean, I can't read this whole thing.
Right.
And I'm just, I'm talking to him like I'm talking to a friend.
Right.
I'm just complaining. So, yeah, I don't know what part. He turns to her. I mean, this is the weird thing, and it registered with me. He's
Right.
not bothered by my attitude. He's just letting it just go by.
Oh, wow.
He said, yeah. He turns to her, he said, oh, you don't know what part? No, nobody told me anything. What part do we have open? And she said, well, they're all given away. We only have two now. What are they? He said, the guy the warden, no, the prison guard who beats him up, and Charlie Butts. He goes, can you do? All we got is Charlie Butts and the prison guard.
Right.
You want to do the prison guard? I said, I don't know what the prison guard is. It doesn't matter. Phase it all. He said he beats up the Clint Eastwood. It's the prison
Right.
guard that beat up Clint Eastwood.
Right.
And she said, no, wait. What? And she says, no, we gave away the prison card. I think this afternoon, and he can't do the prison guard anyway. But why not? He said, hey, I don't think you can beat up Clint Eastwood. Can you beat up? You think you can beat up Clint Eastwood? No. And he goes, and then he smiled. I go, no. Yeah, I didn't think so either. Yeah. All right, forget that. So that's what? Charlie Butts? Okay, you want to do Charlie Butts? I said, I don't know who Charlie Butts is. All right,
Right.
we'll read. Can I read with you? Fine. He says, all right, you got the script. And he picks up his own script. He turns to page 98. I remember that for the rest of my life. But he said, turn to page 98. You read Charlie Butts. I'll read one. We'll just read the one page. Okay?
Right.
Fine. All right. So you want time to go outside and get used to it? No, just let's do it.
Right.
Okay. And he's just not in. And that's why I said he was. And I just got ba 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 ba. Okay, you got the job.
Wow.
And I just sat there like. And what I'm thinking is now he's putting me on. It's not enough that they get me here, and he
Right.
won't let me go. But he's putting me on. He wants to see what I'm going to do.
Right.
And I'm thinking I'm going to just sit here and stare at him until he tells me to get out of here.
Right.
That's what I'm. So I just sat there and I stared at him, and he stared at me, and she doesn't know what's going on. He's going like this, and he says, "You don't believe me, do you?" I say, "No," because I know the one thing I do know, and I've learned
Right.
since you've been down there, is they never tell you got the job at the audition. That's a no-no. And I used to ask a lot of, did they tell you before you leave that you got the job? No,
Right.
no. So he just told me at the audition that I got the job.
Right.
And I don't believe him. So I think he's putting me on. And he says, you don't believe me? And I go, no, I don't. He goes, okay, I'll tell you what. He gets very serious.
Right.
He said, I want you to go home and sit by the phone and see what happens. Okay? I go, yeah. He said, all right, now get out of here. Get out of here.
Right.
Thank you. Boom. And I get out and I leave. And I'm cursing all the way to drive. I drove 45 minutes just to have a guy say, get out of here. I don't know what the fuck. I'm gonna, my agent, I'm gonna, so I get home and sure enough, 10 minutes later, I walk in the door. It's my agent. Hey, you got the job. You're Charlie Butts. Congratulations.
Wow.
Now, here's the thing that I learned, that it just so happened that what I was doing was I was being real,
Right.
not in a character sense.
Right.
I was being truthful to what was going on now.
Right.
And he saw when, you know, sometimes I'd be, no, no. And sometimes I would just be, hey, man, I don't get it.
Right.
You know, just ordinary. And that's exactly what the character was. And my adjustment to that, the backstory simply was, I don't know what's going on here in Alcatraz as
Right.
Charlie Butts, but I see that I'm in the wrong place at the wrong time because I'm going to be somebody's boyfriend pretty soon, or girlfriend
Right.
soon, unless I stick with this guy who's in the next cell, who is Clint Eastwood's character.
Right.
So my adjustment is, I'm going to pretend that I'm his girlfriend and nobody can touch me. And I didn't say that to anybody. That's what I just thought. And Clint picked up on it immediately without saying anything. And so I followed him around even when they said cut. He would, and he always ate with the extras, 200 prisoner extras. And he always ate lunch with them. Always.
Wow.
And they would talk about, and by the way, I found out that Clint Eastwood is a, so what do you call it? He's a genius at Lear's limericks. When, you know, like Brain Man.
Right.
You know, when he's one of those.
Wow.
Not crazy.
Right.
He just has a genius focus for Lear's limericks, either memorization or making them up.
Wow.
But I never, in the 3 months I was on that show, because he would always eat with the extras. So they would always come with, you know, questions to ask Clint, because, you know, that's their one chance to, you know, be with a star. Hey, I spoke to Clint Eastwood. So they would and they noticed that one of the things he answered was Lear's limericks, and everybody kind of knows about them. So they would come with questions about Lear's limericks, and they never stumped him. Like they would say, because he could make them up just as well as memorize. You know, there was a man from St. Ives who had who battled out with 7 wives, and people going to St. Ives. That was a Lear's limericks. Okay, so they said, do one about horses, and they go, there was a man with horses, and he'd make it all rhyme.
Right.
Easy peasy. I mean, he wouldn't even strain or take. Let me think. You know, he just. Okay. So for 3 months, every lunch, they would come up with, and they would even, you know, before he'd stop them, and, you know, he'd say, look, I got to eat. He'd eat about 4 or 5, and he'd make them 1 or 2, and then he'd say, all right, that's enough. You know, let's talk about something else. Well, let's not talk about that anymore. And then he goes, but for 3 months, I never saw him stumped. I mean, out of nowhere. I mean, it had nothing to do with acting or Clint Eastwood or Alcatraz. He just a savant. He was just a savant for Lear's limericks. It's the crazy thing. Yeah. So, but Don Siegel, that was his genius. That's why he was a great director. He saw what he needed and what you would look like on film, and he just, oh, this guy, and then, or, nope. And he pinned me because that's all I did was I just hung around with Clint, or else I'd get beat up. So yeah, there's one scene where I just sit. He had me and Clint just sitting together on the steps outside, and we would talk together, you know. And he would be done, and I would just kind of imitate him. If you see, our hands are doing the same thing.
Right.
You know, he's my protection. And I was very naive. And somehow Don Siegel saw that. And and then when the movie was over, I handed him a screenplay that I had just written, and he wanted to do it. Don Siegel wanted to direct it, and I said, and 2 months later he died.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, wow. And when he talked to me, I didn't understand anything he said, and I also started to pick up on that. But he still wanted to do the movie. It
Right.
was, he said, every once in a while, he took me to dinner, talk about the screenplay.
Right.
He was silent. And I was silent because I thought he was a great man. This was after he did the movie.
Right.
And I thought it was brilliant. And he took me to dinner and he was very silent. And I said, why are you so, why are you silent? And he said, well, I'm just trying to figure out, how to work out one of the scenes in my movie.
Right.
I said, no, and then I said, well, I didn't write it that way, kind of. And he said, well, so you'll rewrite it that way. And that didn't, I don't care how brilliant you are. You
Right.
can't. Now, I've changed my mind since then because I've learned how movies are made.
Right.
But then I didn't know. I thought you wrote it and they shot it.
Right.
I was handed a script. The script I was handed was shot.
Right.
Oh, that's we make movies 1-to-1. He said, no, well, we'll write it. There's certain things I'll help you with it. And I said, no, you're not going to help me with it. I don't want to change it. And he looked at me like I was crazy, which I happened to be and didn't know it.
Right.
Who is this guy? I mean, what do you mean you don't want me to help you? I said, no, that's the way I want it, the way I wrote it. And he just shook his head, and we didn't talk for the rest of the meal.
Right.
Kind of. And then I didn't hear from him, and then he died.
Wow.
Within 2 months. I mean, it's very quick. Mm-hmm. But I at that point, I mean, after it was all over, and I thought, well, he's dead. He has passed on.
Right.
I took that made me stop and say, okay, what you're doing, Larry, is wrong. Now, I don't know how to do what's right, but you better get your shit together because you are going nowhere, money or not. This is not how you make movies or become a higher paying actor. I knew I was screwing up. I just didn't know how to unscrew up is what it was. And I never went to anybody because, I was that adamant about, I don't want to get involved.
Right.
I want to hang out and be funny. But thank God this happened after Escape from Alcatraz was done. Because when we were shooting Alcatraz, I got along great with Clint Eastwood and Don Siegel. We were like a trio.
Right.
I mean, even though in other words, here's an amazing thing. And this is how one of the ways that movies are really made, which I never realized and didn't realize as I was going through it. I didn't realize it until I saw the movie and I went, oh my God, that's how they make movies.
Right.
Really? Here's what happened. I was so in awe of this movie and being on Alcatraz.
Right.
We shot it on Alcatraz. And every morning I had 3 scenes, all with Clint Eastwood.
Right.
But those are the ones that I didn't want to be somebody's girlfriend.
Right.
And that was really simple. And I didn't fight it. And I had very few lines. And it was cool. So it would pay my rent. That was the whole thing.
Right.
But they was shot 3 months. And every day, except Sunday and Monday, I think the 2 days off, I got on the boats, 10 boats, all the 200 extras. And we went out, the cameraman and Clint Eastwood, anybody. We went out to the island, 8:00 in the morning.
Right.
You didn't come back. The boats came for us at 8:00 at night and brought you back.
Right.
And that was it. And there was one boat at 12 noon, and that was the CEOs, the suits, the producers from Hollywood who came to see how it's going.
Right.
That was their boat. So they didn't get up 8:00 in the morning. They didn't go back at 8:00 at night. They came at 12 noon. The boat waited for them until they, for 2 hours.
Right.
Got on. So if you missed the 8:00 boats,
right,
and you had to get to do your scene, but you had to go at the 12:00 boat to do the scene,
right,
you probably were going to be fired.
Wow.
Or they're going to make your life miserable for the rest of the time, or they're going to dock your pay, or they're going to make you pay for that. So I went every morning at 8:00. Never caught the 12 noon boat.
Right.
I got dressed in costume, which was very simple: blue denim shirt, jeans, white socks, black shoes. Boom. Going to, I went, and I would stand next to Don Siegel in the camera every day that I wasn't in the thing.
Right.
He noticed that, and I was there to learn. I wasn't an actor. I was just, this is how movies are made, and I guess that paid off, because that's why. Here's what happens. He would need somebody. He'd say, Larry. He would just see me standing there. I wasn't being an actor. I was just standing there trying to figure out how you make movies. He'd say, Larry, get in the shot. Well, what do you want me to do? I don't care what you want to do. Get in the shot. Just get in the shot.
Right.
Get in the shot. And I'd say, in the shot, I'd be somewhere in the shot. I said, what do you want me to do? Do anything. Well, why? I need a body in the shot. It looks too empty. Just, all right.
Right.
Okay, action. And I just, putz around like if I was and then, so because I was there and he needed to fill in, he said, Larry, get in the shot. I said, what do you want me to do? Do anything. Just sit in that chair there. Because it's for the framing. Just sit down. So I get it. And like every other day, I mean, this happened a lot because I was there and in costume.
Right.
And, he didn't holler at me all the time. So, I mean, after about one or two times, I got the dance. Okay, Larry, get in there. All right, fine. What do you want me to do? Do anything. Just get in there. All right, fine. I mean, I got used to it. After a while, I did the dance. And then one time, he says, it was a close-up of the, what do you call it? The two principals, Clint Eastwood and the warden.
Right.
Close up, and they were this close. Nose to nose, and they were talking.
Right.
And I'm standing there and going, wow, okay, and they're up on the tier, and the camera is, hanging out over the tier. There's a drop of three stories, and they're shooting into the cell, and they're talking this way, facing each other. So like this. So the camera's out there, he's shooting this way. So, and he's directing from the side, on the aisle. And I'm standing next to him, like always. And he goes, okay, cut. All right, Larry, get in the cell. I go, okay, what do you want me to do? Do anything. It doesn't matter. Just get in there. Well, why? I don't understand. Come here. And he shows me the camera shot. And he says, you see, there's a hole. There's nothing. There's you see, and then you see a blank wall or maybe a hard window. He said, there's a hole. I want somebody in there. So it's an empty cell. What are they talking in an empty cell for? See? So this is your cell. Get in there. Well, what am I doing? I don't care what you're doing. It's your cell. I need to fill the hole in the frame. Get in there. Okay, fine. How long do I have to before you're going to shoot? So, well, we got to set up the lights now. Okay, you got 5 minutes, maybe 3. Okay, whoom, and I run to Warner Brothers from El Paso Productions, had set up a prop table downstairs, prop department. I mean, to get a boat to send back and forth, you have to have it there. So they had a prop department there. So I ran down. I said, "Give me a checkerboard. I want to play checkers." He said, "We didn't bring any checkerboards." I go, "Oh man, okay. What do you got?" I got a chess set. Okay, give me a chess set. Fine. He said, "We don't have any chess people though. I got I have a checkerboard. Is what I got. That's it." I said, "Give me a checkerboard. Give me some check. I need checkers. I don't have any checkers. I got chessmen. I got some chessmen. All right, give me the chessmen." So he gives me the chessmen and the board. And then the AD comes in. Hey, they're ready for you. Come on, get upstairs. No, I'm running upstairs. Larry, where are you? Get in there. I said, okay. I get in there and I'm going quickly. I'm setting up a checker game. I'm setting up with chess.
Right.
Okay. I'll be there just a second. Okay, boom. Okay, set it up. Put a couple of moves in. Checker moves. Okay. All right, I'm ready. Now, this is weird. The guys get in.
Right.
This is Steve and McGowan. I mean, these are big time people, man. I'm
Right.
just nobody like that. And they say, "Okay, Larry, you ready?" Just them at all. Larry, you ready? Yeah, I'm ready. Okay, and action. And I'm going. They're doing this scene. And I'm just 1, 2, 3. Take a minute. Cut. All right, stop. Larry, come here. He doesn't even say, "Wait a second, guys." Nothing.
Right.
He doesn't say anything. They're like in the middle of a scene. They just were stopped. Okay, they're just holding their positions. Just come here. Now, it's nice that he called me over and didn't holler at me or anything like that.
Right.
Come here. And he says this is very personal.
Right.
What are you doing back there? I'm playing checkers. You got a chessboard. Yeah, I know. But Charlie Butts doesn't know how to play chess. And the Alcatraz prop department have all the checkerboards out. The only thing they have left is a chessboard. So Charlie Butts is playing checkers with a chessboard. That's what you're doing. Yeah, I don't have to do anything. I'll bring it back. No. Go back. Play checkers with the chessboard. I just want to know what the hell you're doing. That's all. Go back in there. It's fine. Okay, you guys ready? Okay. And action. And I thought, oh, this is how movies are made. A little, a little off the book. A little on book, a little off the book, a little of this, a little of that. Well, a give and take. And I thought, oh. Yeah, but you see, I mean, no actors go through that. They're actors. They understand that. I'm just confused for every second I step on set. And I'm just hoping nobody will catch me. And the one guy who keeps on catches me is Don Siegel, and he knows he's catching me, and he just thinks it's funny.
Well, what's funny is that's a huge scene with
McGowan and Clint Eastwood.
Right. So it's a major scene. You would think that Don Siegel would be focusing on what they're saying and fucking that.
Yes,
it's funny,
but no, they're professionals.
Right.
So Don Siegel knows he doesn't have to husband them and take care of them and watch them move to see that. Like for instance, in the Tool scene where the guy cuts off his wrist, his hand, cuts off his hand. Big scene. I'm not in that scene. I mean, I am in that scene, but it's not written. I'm not in there. He just said the scene. So in that scene, he sets up the scene. He gets it all lit. He says, "Okay, and all right, stop. Hankin, get in there." And now the boy, what? Get in there. What am I doing? It doesn't matter. He's going to cut off his. Just get in there. It looks empty. Get in there.
Right.
It's a shop, So I get in there. So I have my. I'm doing something like side view. I mean, I'm in so many get in there and just fill that I can turn my back to the audience. I'm not face thing. Got enough face things. I can be real in the shop. So I think I'm 3/4 or something like that. And it's and action. And right before action. So I'm in there.
Right.
And the prop department has made a fake arm from here to there. And it looks real. I mean, and they made 2 of them. So they have it just laying very carefully. Everybody's very delicate because, they're painted and everything. They're perfect. It looks like 2 real, except if you look here, you'll see it's all mechanics. Okay.
Right.
So they're laying there. So everybody is standing around because it's like a museum that you can touch. And you're looking at it. Wow, that's really so real. And looking at the fingernails and everything. I mean, they did a job. So somebody says to one of the, and the prop guy said, "Don't touch it. Don't, just you can look, don't touch."
Right.
And somebody says, "How much did that cost to make?" And they said, $75,000 for both of them.
Wow.
Yeah. So we're going, whoa. So he kind of back off a little when he says
Right.
right. Whoa. Well, let's get a little further back. Okay, fine. So they say, okay, bring in the prop. So they bring in his arm. This mechanic. Right. Well, it's not. I don't know. Look at real tell. And he puts it on the thing where it's supposed to, where he would put his hand, chop it off.
Right.
And he says, okay. And then Roberts Flowers was the painter who's going to chop off his hands. So Clint Eastwood has a real axe, a prop too. So the prop department won't let anybody touch the arms.
Right.
So only they can handle it. They put it where it's supposed to be.
Right.
And Clint picks up the axe because he just wants to pick up the axe. That's all.
Right.
So he goes over to Roberts Flowers, who has to chop off his own hand.
Right.
It's the thing. So he stands there and pretends that this goes this way, right? And then they look at it. Okay. And Clint says to Roberts Flowers, because this is only going to be a close-up of the axe chopping the arm. Robert Flowers isn't in the shot at all. It's just an insert of an axe chopping off a wrist. The thing is from here to here. That's the shot, the frame. Right. And so Clint says, Roberts, you want to cut off your own arm? And, which is a kind of cool thing to say. And Roberts says, this is a response. He heard 75,000. So that's like what, 35,000 something change a piece, $35,000. Right. And he goes like this. He goes, "You want to do it?" And Roberts hesitated. And he goes, "Yeah." And then he smiles and he grabs the axe. And yeah. And it's a hand axe. So, yeah. And then he kind of thinks, I think he's thinking $35,000, Oh, and then, so that's what Clint Eastwood said to him. He goes, okay. And he takes it and then he smiles. And then Clint sees the smile and says, "Don't fuck it up." I said, that's what they do, man. They fuck you. If they think that
put that pressure on you.
Yeah. And they use that because Don Siegel said at one point, he said, "Why did you do that?" It was when he was fucking with another actor. He said, "Hey, man, in the old days, that's all we did with each other."
Right.
Oh, okay, fine. So Roberts, he says, "All right, ready?" He said, "Yeah." And they got the camera like this. And he says, "Okay, and actions, Robert." Bam! And he cuts off just the tip of his fingers. And Roberts just was stunned and was white. He was just, oh my God. And then I think Clint Eastwood walked over and said, give me the axe. He took the axe. And he just felt ashamed and awful and fearful. And, we just, and everybody, you could hear when he cut off his fingers from like 50 people, crew, actors, Wow. Yeah, nobody said it. That you didn't hear it. You heard it, but it never was said. It never was. And there was dead silence. It was really weird. And then nobody said anything. And then Clint Eastwood grabbed the axe immediately. He said, "All right, set it up again." And Don Siegel said, "Clint, you want to take care of this?" And Clint says, "Yeah." And now everybody was businessmen. I never saw the change. Okay, everybody focus, man, because if we don't get it, this is like half the movie gone.
Right.
The guy cuts it. That's a major part of the screenplay.
Right.
The guy cuts his hand off. So these are the stakes. And then Clint all of a sudden became a director out of the blue. He said, all right, camera, are you ready for this? Is everything lit? Is it ready to go? What's the frame? And he's like directing. He said, okay, I'm going to count 3 and then I'm going to do it. All right. And then somebody said, Clint, you shut up. Quiet.
Right.
I'm quiet on a set. I mean, he was taken over, man.
Right.
He was now, like Clint Eastwood. And he says, okay. And then there's dead silence. And everybody's just holding their breath. And he says, okay, I'm going to call it out now. Ready? Camera, sound, action. Bam. Perfect.
Wow.
And everybody is. And then the next thing, after this great tension just went, silent tension left the room.
Right.
Everybody, not a word was said. And the director said, moving on. And they just, like it never happened.
Oh, wow.
The crews just took up both pieces, the hand and the arm. Boom, it was disappeared. They just moved the camera thing. And it was like it never happened. Nothing ever happened. This whole scene never happened. And I thought, these people are pros when the when the rubber hits the road. There was no, oh my God, nobody went over to him and said, hey, don't worry about it. Nothing.
Right.
Nobody paid attention to him, to the thing, to the show. They were going on with the movie. And I thought, man, there's a lesson. Take that with you, Larry.
Right.
The rest of your life. Focus, do it, move on.
Right.
Now that was 50 people.
Wow.
And they all had one thought. Focus. Not let's get this done. Let's pray for him. None of that shit. Just focus. Bam.
Wow.
Moving on. Wow. I mean, see the things that we're talking about now are the intense parts of my life in show business.
Right.
Because of my naivete and because of show business and because of how movies are made and how I was learning in a weird dyslexic way, because I am dyslexic. So these kind of things may happen to other people, may not. My stories to you may be ordinary or as amazing as they are to me to this very day. And they happened. It was 1972 when 1970 when it was filmed, 71. And to this day, the things that I just explained to you is if I was there and it was going through me. Not many things affect me that way, or anybody. I mean, if you're in a car crash, or somebody you love dies in your arms. Right. You don't forget those things. And and those are things that actors take with them and use for very many things, not just for if somebody dies in your arms or if you're in a car crash. Right. Those things you can use no matter what. Right. Do that, and not actors, and they use them in life. Those are okay. I don't go on.
I was wondering, since you've done over 200 films in television, has there ever been a role that you would like to do still today? You're like, hey, you know what? If this role ever came available, I would love to do this role.
No, because of dyslexia, and I haven't done it in a while. Right. I had this audition today, so it's the first audition I've done in years. So I don't even know if I have the chops that I finally got when I left. It was just too much work for me in dyslexia. It's memorization. The boogeyman to me in acting, in show business is the memorization. When I was stand-up, I was doing my own stuff. I could memorize it and take as long as I wanted or needed to memorize it. And then I would change the act or feed it in. And in improv, I didn't have to think about it at all. You write it on stage in front of an audience. So sudden death every second. But you go to school and you learn how to do it. And I went to school and learned how to do it. When you're in Second City, they send you to improv school. You learn how
Right.
to do it. Boom, I learned it well. But in acting, stage or movies or
Right.
television, you have to memorize. And I'm a dyslexic, and I work around it. But in the memorization of roles,
Right.
the workarounds are the weakest
Mm.
for just that one thing,
Right.
memorization. I can work around other things, yeah, and still deal with dyslexia, and you'd never
Right.
know it. And before I finally quit, the dyslexia started to move up on me because I started to go up on lines.
Mm.
And the final three things I ever did, that was like 2013, 2015,
Mm.
Barry and El Camino,
Right.
Breaking Bad and Barry, El Camino. I went up, no, I went up with Bryan Cranston, and I went up with, I forgot his name. But I learned, here's how I learned,
Mm.
which is hard way to learn, but you learn.
Right.
Bryan Cranston, I went up on my lines 3 times in one scene when I was getting the magnet. And I was talking to Brian and said, hey, you can get this, blah, blah, blah. And it was just me and Brian and Aaron standing
Right.
there talking. And I went up 3 times. The first time, fine, let's do it again. Went up again.
Right.
And Brian just looked at me. Now, Brian's a pro, man.
Right.
And then the third time, he just looked at me and he said, hey, Larry, get your lines down. Just like that. And man, that struck fear in my heart because I wasn't, Mr. Big Time,
Right.
but he was. And I looked at a little awe. I mean, hey, man, he's Bryan Cranston. He's got chops.
Right.
And I said, oh, okay. So before I did that, he said, hey, get your lines down. And before the director said, all right, let's go again. No, nothing disturbed the director. It wasn't Vince Gilligan. I said, excuse me, I have to talk to you for a second. Could I just take a moment? He said, sure. Okay. So I walk over to him and I say, hey, man, I'm going up on my lines, and Brian is really getting pissed. I mean, on this third take, when I went up, he doesn't even look at me. He's just, he's saying his lines and I'm talking this way. I says, what should I do?
Right.
And the director looked at me like I was crazy. And he
Wow.
said, Larry, all actors go up on their lines. What are you talking about? Get back in there and finish the scene. We're losing the light.
Wow.
Cranston. That's what he said.
Right.
Cranston. Get back there. We're losing the light. I went back there and I remembered my lines, and we didn't lose the light.
Right.
But again, there's another learning way. But geez, that's a hard way to learn, man, through naivety. I mean, you got to be sharper. And that was another, teaching moment, a teachable moment. These are teachable moments that I used in other parts of my life. Focus. I mean, don't let people scare you, have confidence. I mean, just bullshit stuff. But it's meaningful because I was raised, a spoiled brat. I had things done for me. My parents raised me like I was rich. They weren't rich, but that's how they raised their child.
Right.
Everything was done for me.
Right.
If I was mixed, oh no, here, let me cut that for you. I remember one time my mother, we were eating out. It was, I think, when I was visiting from college home. So I was starting to be kind of aware of you got to do more things for yourself, Larry. You can't just depend on other people all the time. They don't know who you are. And we went out to dinner, and my father ordered a steak or something, and just ordinary stuff, and in a nice restaurant.
Right.
And my father was just picking at it. I think he was getting a little senile, maybe a little slow, picking at it. And he looked at the meat, and my mother took the fork and the knife, his fork and the knife, and cut up his meat for him.
Right.
And I just stared at that and I said, wow, this is where I come from.
Mm.
These people are raising me. I mean, I started to, disconnect and see why why I had no idea about what I wanted to be. I mean,
Right.
Beyonce or Bob Dylan knew what they wanted to do when they were 15.
Right.
I was in college getting a degree in industrial design, and I'm
Right.
just catching up on, and I didn't know that I had dyslexia yet.
Right.
I had dyslexia since I was growing up, which is one of the reasons why everybody helped me. I didn't know why, but I showed it. They knew I had something wrong. There was some
Right.
kind of learning disability here, but I don't think dyslexia had been invented yet.
Mm.
The realization that there was such a thing.
Right.
So when I saw her cutting up the meat, it rang a bell. Okay, she's doing that for him, but she's probably, when she raised me, either they both or my mom did it for me. So I don't know how to cut up my meat. I mean, I do know how to cut up my meat, but it was more,
Right.
simpler or, obscure kinds of raisings, nothing spoken or, but it woke me up. So I had these, learning experiences, teaching moments, teachable
Right.
moments. That's what I had to use acting for.
Mm.
I wasn't finished
Right.
learning. I was still going to college, a new college. That
Right.
was my goal. Show business was my school.
Mm.
When I was going to school, people helped me because I was dyslexic and nobody knew what dyslexic was and nobody knew I
Right.
had it.
Right.
I had a little learning. It's not for everything.
Right.
There's certain things that you would think I would have dyslexia for because it's a weird kind of, I don't know if it's a disease. I don't know what the hell it is, but it's very specific and it doesn't always, two people don't have the same kind of dyslexia.
Right.
It's really good. So I'm sure when I was growing up, they saw that there was some kind of learning, but he learned other things pretty well.
Right.
It seemed to be good at painting.
Right.
Or learning. I could learn things.
Yeah. Right.
It's not to give it back to you on the spot. Like, learn these lines. Now we're going to do a scene. Whoa, that's
So let me ask you this: being that dyslexic like that, is there a specific method or how do you overcome that whenever you're trying to memorize your lines?
Well, one of the things was when I got brave enough and I got chops enough and well known enough, I could say my agent could tell them. Now, one of the things about Larry is he's got to get the script first. He has difficulty memorizing. He memorized it. I mean, he's never screwed up. Never. I mean, I went through, from my 20s to my 45, never messing up. It's
Right.
just that I was around 40, I started to say, "Hey, I need more time to learn this." I started to think it takes me a longer time than everybody else to learn the lines. So I said, I need to get the first draft or as soon as possible. And
Right.
they just said, okay, fine. So I'd always get the script sooner than everybody else.
Well,
And nobody spoke about it. Nobody said no, or nobody asked me why. They
Right.
just did. So that was fine until finally the Bryan Cranston thing. When that Bryan Cranston thing happened,
right.
I said, I better wake up. I don't have much more time. Because,
Right.
I mean, a certain amount of time when the script is finished, we can't give it to you because it's not ready. And I
Right.
said, well, we need more time than that. And that's when I started to realize, okay, I've filled the time that I need for help, and there's no more help from here on in.
Right.
The lines got bigger. I got bigger roles, and I
Right.
needed more time to learn bigger parts, but there wasn't more time.
Right.
This is when we finished the script. So, this is not, that's why my book called That Guy what's the subtitle?
A cautionary memoir. Yeah.
That's what this is
Right.
the sum total of my time in show business. It's a cautionary. It was a learning experience more than it
Right.
was an acting job. I used it to learn how to, how to keep a job,
Right. Right.
keep a job, because there was
Right.
no other job I could keep
Right.
because of I just rebelled at the learning experience that I had to go. I don't want to learn anything. I just want to do stuff,
Right.
and that was the way I was brought up. You don't
Right.
have to learn anything. Just be able to do stuff. I thought if I watched Clint Eastwood or Bryan Cranston or Marlon Brando, if I just watched them on screen, I would just imitate that.
Right.
I never thought about no. There's months and years of practice
Right.
of learning. What about that, Larry? No, I did. I'm doing what Marlon Brando's doing. I'm acting.
Right.
No, no, no. So my what? Okay, high school and college. So that's 4 and 4, 8 years. All
Right.
right. So from my 40s on was my 8 years of school, of
Right.
learning.
Right.
15 to 20. You know, I mean, when you're 15, 5 years to 20, that's like two different people.
Right.
45 to 50 is not the same. It's 5 years, same 5 years. Nope.
Right. Wow. So
I've got to go. I've got to go. I mean, we've been on here for 4 years, I think.
Well, again, I'm really glad you got to come back on and talk about some of the chapters in the book.
I think I told you maybe 15 pages.
Right.
The rest of the book is my life. But
Right.
yeah, it's interesting. It's pretty interesting life that I had. Cautionary though it is.
Right. But it's great. It's great stories, and it's I've really enjoyed reading the book. So, yeah, I'm glad you came on.
By the way, I'm going to tell you something about the book before we sign off. This you got to have in the book and the whatever you say. It's called that guy, and it's on Amazon. It's got a 4.4 out of 5. That book, which is a bestseller, but nobody's buying it because they don't know who Larry Hankin is, so they don't understand.
Right.
So anyway, so it's got a 4.4 out of 5, which is stars, which is a very high rating. But it's $28, which to me, I would rather have the paperback version or a cheaper version. So I've just converted that book to that guy, the Kindle version. The Kindle version is $10. $10.
Oh wow.
$10. So yeah, but it has the same thing, same pictures in it, drawings, and not pictures, they're drawings. Same drawings, same stories, exactly the same, except it's Kindle. You get it on the internet. I don't know if you can download it, I don't know what it is, but it's just cheaper. But it's all on Amazon. Go to Amazon.com and Larry Hankin, that guy. And you know why people call it that? Why I call it that guy? Because people don't know my name. They say, "Oh, that guy, yeah. Oh, you're that? Are you that guy? Yeah."
Right. It's one of those familiar faces. You're like, I know I've seen him somewhere.
Yeah.
I've seen him somewhere. You see him 202 times in different things.
Well, yeah. So everybody has seen you. So people on the street come up to you. You look familiar. Oh, right. You're that guy. Oh, yeah.
That's a great title too. It's and it suits.
Hopefully.
Yeah, it suits you too.
4.4.
Well, cool. Again, man, thank you so much, brother, for being on the show, man. I really enjoy having you on, and I really love listening to your stories. So definitely, you guys go out, get the book. You can find it on Amazon. Again,
one more last thing I remember. See, the dyslexic takes a little is lag time. Okay, I just remember that thing. I got another book coming out. Only this is just stories. It has nothing to do with show business. These are just it's nonfiction basically, and it's 4 stories. It's one is Sometimes Jones fables. I wrote about 7 fables. Then it's about being homeless. I lived in my car for a year. Wow. I was homeless. So I wrote a story about Barnum Justice. He's this homeless guy, and he's cool, but he's angry. And then there's, I think it's Kay and Emmett. It's just a love story about a guy and a girl, but it's kind of It's different. It's different. It's not just boy girl. It's
Right.
boy girl but. And then there's Loopholes, which is the name of the book, the name of the nonfiction book called Loopholes, and it's about a politician named James Loopholes,
Okay.
and it's about politics, and it's really funny, but it's
Cool.
cool. Okay, but that's coming out in 2-3 months. Okay,
All right,
I'm done. I got to get out of here. I've got to finish the book. That's what.
Right.
Okay.
Well, once you're done with the book, I got to get that book too. So we'll read that. And I'll bring you back on. We'll talk about it.
Okay.
All right, cool.
Thank you, folks. I got to go.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us today, man. This was a lot of fun. I want to, thank Larry for being back on. Definitely go get the book. Go to Amazon, get the book. You'll enjoy the stories. So until the next episode, which will be next week, remember, you are uniquely designed with the purpose, and always keep moving forward. Peace.